welcome to Higurashi When They Cry, or in Japanese, Higurashi no Nakoro ni, and originally intended to just be called When They Cry in the West. This is a visual novel. It's originally from the early 2000s. Actually, it was called a sound novel because there wasn't too much visual going on originally, but this is an updated version, came out this year on Steam. It's the English version. It's the first chapter out of, I believe, 8. The original series had 8. 4 in the first arc and 4 in the second arc. It's a bit hard to explain without spoiling things, and I do know the story we're about to play. The reason we're doing this is because Higurashi happens to be one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, visual novel story of all time. And I've only played it in really broken English, because the original localization is not very good. In fact, I didn't even bother finishing it. I just stuck to knowing the story from the anime instead. It was an anime adaptation in 2006, and a second season in 2007. And after that, you don't need to care about anything that released. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into Higurashi When They Cry. Onikakushi, also known as the Spirited Away by Demons arc, I believe was the old fan name for it. Difficult extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. Alright. So. This is gonna be great. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if you will not forgive the world. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Frederica Bernkastel. And a bunch of seemingly made-up words in front of... 1983. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice, and those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical, repetitive sound finally stilled, and everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cicadas remained, annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She is no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion, because there was none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. Then why? This pain, my eyes getting moist, why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough, and countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Chose to believe. Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind, with her, like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. even though you can't feel your right arm. Just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did love you. And that's the start. And yes, that's a Photoshop cloud background with red and black, and that's all it is. Oh, yes. So, that might be a confusing opening. That's the intent. It's going to be... I'm going to be doing commentary in between things, but I'll mostly try just to read through it as it flows. But that narration, of course, is meant to be cryptic somewhat. Somebody had been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend a funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony... Cacophony? Cacophony. I don't know what that word is. Of the crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks. Oh, I should mention, the cry of cicadas. Higurashi no naku koro ni means when the Higurashis cry, or when the cicadas cry. Higurashi is a type of cicada, and that's why it's called when they cry in English. And the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Well, there you got the explanation that I just gave. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean that there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town had some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody's still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. Even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally aroused from my nap by my father's prodding. Oh, it was the father. I thought it was the mother. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We spent hours riding everything from bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, I think even from the same era. You can see here, by the way, that the background artwork is actually photographs with a filter applied to them. This is very common in doing circles that work on visual novels, because it's normally like 1 to 3 people doing all the work, and sometimes the artwork is very limited. Background art is actually often more like it's like harder to get an artist for, and requires more work than the character art often does. And more people are good at drawing characters than they are background. So a lot of people, when they make games for Comic and stuff, that they take photos, either public photos or their own photos, and filter them to sort of look 2D in order to make it work. I actually do this in Unkindness, the horror RPG. That's not really an RPG, but the horror adventure game that I'm working on. In the cutscenes, there are several backgrounds that are actually not drawn by me. Some of them are, but some of them are just filtered photos that I've then applied the palette to. So that's a little tip if you need backgrounds and you don't know where to get them, is you can use photos. Just of course, make sure you either use photos you have the rights to edit and work with, or your own photos. Don't just steal someone's photos. That's wrong. That's wrong. From there, we take a car deeper into the mountains. Past where the dense forest and roaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. There, where I live now, Himanizawa. And here we are, Himanizawa, the town where Higurashi takes place in. I forget what the town it's based on is named, because the photos are from a real village, and I don't remember the name of it. I should mention, the PS2, Nintendo DS, PS3, and PS Vita remakes of this game all feature original art and no filtered backgrounds. I actually own the DS and the PS2 versions, but they're not in English, so I wouldn't play them for this. I'm going to get the PS3 version as well eventually, just haven't gotten around to it yet. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although in exchange you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. Their neighboring house was far away on the other side. So I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Himanizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. That's not how painting works here, I just gotta say. Feeling this was the 80s. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. Holy shit! Living the sweet life. That's... I would get a bowl of cereal or like 2 pieces of toast for breakfast. That's it. And I had to make it myself, Keiichi. Fucking privileged little kid. My mom was such a good cook. It was scary. Yeah, that's the horror Higurashi, the food. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed well too when she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savor the steaming hot rice with seaweed. Seaweed? I over-sweetified that word. Seaweed. With the seaweed. After that, I covered it with egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent, as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since you moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me eat. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me. Sorry, this sentence has me stumped for some reason. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning. That's probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that's what you would call my rebellious face. I wouldn't so much look at the. I wouldn't so much. Why do I have trouble with these sentences? I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Rena-chan? Hurry, hurry! Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Rena is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Rena-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have saved them a bit more. Morning. Keiichi-kun! Good morning! Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious. Conscientious? Conscientious. Yeah, I mean, I know what the word means. I just realized I haven't read it out loud before. Conscientious. Conscientious. Conscientious? Whatever. And such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun! You're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust. Without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding. I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rena. No matter how long. Forever? Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone that's fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty. They weren't that salty. Actually, they had pretty light flavor to them. Would have been fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who picked them, Rena? Pickled them, Rena? Or was it your mom? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena? Or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. Huh? She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good. Just like the last one, it went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you until I handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep me on waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just keeps spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we can make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Rena Ryugu. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Are we gonna get a translator's note explaining why that's a strange name? Or, no? Okay. Never mind. Mi-chan! Good morning! Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Ah, finally! You two are late! I can't do that voice. Ah, finally! You two are late! Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Zonosaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena. It's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. Hahaha, you don't say. It was so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze stared at my chest and then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying it was my crush that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Being so engorged with energy in the morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so make sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breathe of fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha! Time for the big reveal! Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began to ramble in near panic. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious that she knew exactly what we were talking about. Now, audience, just to make clear, they were talking about Keiichi's penis. How was it? Seemed to say again. Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting of the pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral, I didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look for it? That thing I asked for? You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. How do you... Do you actually say that? Because that's the thing I've been thinking about for a while. I remember first coming across the tisk 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 in Leisure Suit Larry, the first one. And in Swedish, like, I've never seen it read out in Swedish. I don't know if it's just meant to be a like that kind of thing, or if it's actually said tisk tisk tisk. Like, I don't know. I always assumed it was just like a placement for a sound, like but that makes sense to me at least. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here after all. Is this about games again, Mi-chan? Actually, before we continue, I'm going to show you something. It's a bit of a little trivia thing here. This is the Steam version, which has redrawn characters. They made it to look more like the PS2 and DS versions of the game. The original game was drawn by the creator, who has a very different art style. I'm going to show them right now. This is what they look like. So this is what the original game looked like back in 2002, I believe. This is the art that... what's his name? I want to say like it's... Ryukakushi 07 or something like that? Obviously a pen name, but real name unknown, which is quite common actually with these things. So yeah, we're gonna go back to the updated ones. Because quite frankly, they're just better. Like, okay. Is this about games again, Mi-chan? Mia nodded proudly as Rena giggled. Yep, I want Keiichi to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see? Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mia is a board and card game enthusiast, and I heard she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mia's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Heh, of course. If Keiichi is up for it, I should warn you though. We're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa. Can we let you in the group this time, I guess? Oh yeah, that's a thing Rena does. It makes more sense in Japanese. She sometimes ends her sentences with kana, I guess, or I see, I presume, like, it's a way to end a sentence. And she tends to say it twice, so it'll be na kana, kana. Yeah, I'll just read it as it's said in English, because otherwise it's weird, but that's why it says I guess twice. It's just a manner of speech. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys prefer playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I had to try hard to fit in so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it should probably be about right for this place. So, we're arriving in school. Let's, how about we leave for here and we'll continue on the next episode.